Welcome back, everyone. This is Mark Price with devslopes.com, and here we go to continue our journey in the land of JavaScript. And today we'll be talking about loops and arrays. I'm going to create a new file. You can put yours wherever you want. We're going to call this loops and arrays.js. Save it here. Okay, so loops and arrays are very similar to as they are in Swift. Similar construct, and so what you're about to see is nothing too crazy or new. So I could say name equals John, Jacob, Jingle, Heimer, Smith. That is a JavaScript array. Pretty cool, right? And of course you can iterate through that array with a for loop. So for var x equals 0 while x is less than name.length x plus plus, okay? In Swift you use .count, and of course it's very similar syntax to Swift here. So then we can just console.log name x. Should we give it a shot? Let's give it a shot. Let's run node loops and arrays.js. John, Jacob, Jingle, Heimer, Smith. So that is a for loop and that is an array. Okay, if you want to add an element to an array, you can say name.push, and we can say Tom. Okay, and then I can actually just copy this here, paste it underneath, just to see, just to see what happens. Make sure it worked. And there's Tom right there. Pretty cool, right? No big deal. So that's arrays. Arrays can have different types in them. Okay, so for instance, let's create an array called whatever. We'll say Jeremy, true, and 312. Why would you do this? I'm not really sure. I think I would consider it bad practice to have arrays with various types in it. I think you should stick with single typed arrays, but you can do this. This just makes it complicated, but let's give it a shot. Whatever dot length, and we'll just copy that here, copy that there, and let's clear this and run it, save it and run it. So Jeremy true 312. So that's working with arrays there. Now what about different types of loops? Well, we've done a for loop, so we can do a while loop. So we can say var I equals 0, and when we could say while I is less than 10, console.log, and we'll say iteration plus I, and we'll just I plus plus each time. Let's give that one a shot. Pretty cool, huh? That's a while loop. Not that complicated. Let's do one more type of loop. We're going to do a do while loop. Okay. So do, and we'll say while I is less than 10, okay? And we're going to say console.log. Let me create a new I variable. Well, let's actually right here say I equals 0. We'll reset it to 0. So I is less than 10. We'll do console.log, and then we'll say I plus plus. And we'll just iteration plus I. Okay. Clear this out. All right, so no big deal. For loops, while loops, cool stuff. Arrays are very easy to work with in JavaScript. Very similar to Swift. We can also cut an element out of an array using splice. Okay. So using our whatever array, we can say whatever dot splice, and the first parameter you put in here, or first argument that you pass into it, is the index that you want to start at. So we want to start at 0, and we want to remove one element, like so. Okay, and if we console.log whatever, just whatever, let's see what happens. Oops, let me save it. Let's try that again. So interesting. It got rid of it started at 0 and got rid of one element. So it got rid of Jeremy. So if I change the 2, okay. So if you want to remove elements from an array, you can do .splice, and that the first parameter you pass in is the index that you want to start at, and the second one is how many elements that you want to remove. So that's arrays and for loops. Not that big a deal, very similar to Swift, and I wish I could tell you more about it. There's lots of documentation on the internet. If you want to figure out something to do with an array, it's all right there, but this is the basics. So let's go ahead and move forward. And remember, to get your free live help, go to devslopes.com and click on chat room. I'm there all the time, as well as a huge community of other students.